Good morning from Maui here in Hawaii. Alan Clements here on my daily live stream. This is the Maui Series, however long it may last. Day 3, I think it's June 28th, 2021. From my heart to yours. If you're watching and tuning in, thank you for participating. Today's sharing is titled Untapped Creativity. Untapped Creativity. Further tapping artistic, spiritual, existential creativity. I want to dive into this topic. I love it. And cliched as it sounds, but those of you who are artists of the heart, of the mind, of the body, of life, know that it isn't a cliche at all to choose our life as art, make art life. And I'd like to share with you, if I may, some of my ideas, my feelings about the nature of art and its coupling, its intersecting, interweaving, cognitive, emotional, particle wave, quantum dynamic, voice and sound and smell and taste, the senses, infusing that with style, with art, purposeful, spontaneous, cool, respectful of your own integrity, dignity, conscience, and authenticity. Respectful of your own consciousness, conscience, dignity, integrity, and your own purposeful artistry. The artistry of the way that we speak and communicate. The intonation of language and words, the choice of language and words and definition, and the playfulness of spontaneity and memory, conditioning, and innovative edge playing, love-making, tantrification, trans-cure, and healing. Art. Art to inspire magic, miracle, greatness, sensitivity. The poetry of the way that you uniquely walk and talk and move and rest and breathe and feed and cry and yearn and heal and hope and hurt. The artistry of crying, that spontaneous, deep naturalness to our voice, deep naturalness to our art, deep naturalness to our yoga, deep naturalness to our Dhamma. Art to me, in a way, is hyper uncontrived. Authenticity shaped and molded by dignity and integrity, and by purposeful employment of love, kindness, patience, determination. The way in which we naturally inhabit the body as the base of our art, our presence. And to couple that basis of our art and our presence with the meaning, the felt experiential application of the word, which I will never stop talking about, is the power and the beauty of Dhamma. Dharma art, coupled with aesthetics. Okay, pause. Yesterday, I chose to participate in a process deliberately connected to my heart, my well-being, my aorta, which Those of you who know, and those of you who are tuning in for the first time, I've been diagnosed with an aneurysm of the ascending aorta. And it's, from a medical point of view, a life-threatening condition. And I am here in Maui. I am moving through life purposefully, making choices on behalf of engaging my heart, my aorta, primarily the aorta, in the most open-handed, artistically creative, Dharma-infused energetic. It's an energetic. I can't see it. I feel it through the pulsation of the heart and the blood through my body and my brain. And in this procedure, it was at a very quantum level of being. And during the process, I took my time to enter this region of my being, my chest, and most specifically, the deepest intuitive capacity, not to see, but to, you know how it is to sensitize on a feeling presence level, a meditative feeling presence level of both the aorta, the heart, and in classical Buddhist theology, many of you know, that the deeper resonant frequencies of being, the centralization of consciousness within the cognitive ecosystem of karma and the results of karma, and our own unique cyclical, what they call paticca samuppada, the causal conditions for the uniqueness of our own snowflakeness of being in configuration within the eternity of sky and other individual identities in their own snowflakedom. The intersection of eternity, separateness, unity, and emptiness. Beneath the physical being, above the physical being, through the physical being, we have, I feel, a very resonant spiritual body being. And so yesterday in this process, I chose as consciously as I could to occupy the most radiant, felt expression of my own mindfulness. You know, those of you who know me, I've done my best over the last years, especially these last few months, to make my life an expression of my Dhamma, the radiance of my own Dhamma awakening, all posture meditation, all context meditation, all challenges meditation, all senses. So no time off meditation, all engagement yoga asana meditation, the liberating asana Dhamma of relaxing fear. Fear is relaxed, engaging, illuminating the radiance of awareness, a fear-free sky to be aware of the radiance of whatever's present, the ear of hyper-psychic intuition, deep, almost precognitive, pre-consciousness, subtle body consciousness, presence. When you see, when you hear, when you feel, when you listen. Yesterday, I employed my most sensitive level of mindful felt presence, specifically in the region of my heart area, the aorta. I wanted to give that gift of presence to myself and discover what it was that I felt and learned based upon the procedure at this very, I don't know how to describe it, whatever it is, this shared quantum field that exists and holds existence. I mean, I was walking here in this beautiful nature reserve this morning and trying to occupy the dimensionality of what my eye and ear could see and hear and my body could feel, and the oxygenation of my mind through breathing and the blood through my veins. I tried to really embody a living beingness, and then within that the artistry of movement and hearing and thinking and feeling, but really occupying present time reality without the need to put the clock on it to figure out and to check off the boxes of what needs to be done today, which I'm really good at. But that's not what the procedure yesterday was about for me, or what my life is about today, in this untapped creativity and making my life more an expression of the artistry of what? What's the purpose of my art? Pure motion, the feeling of freedom and action, the release from the gravity of fear and greed and delusion, even temporarily, to create things to sell, to commodify, to symbolize the soul. My point here, in the procedure yesterday, I felt the ephemeral heart body and the ephemeral aorta, the intelligence orchestrating this moment now. It's one thing to see color and form and mandala and various forms of Buddhahood, and it's one thing to go deeper into that one thing and feel the intelligences, the intersecting cognitive, spiritual, biological, neurological. I'm going to have to learn words for something deeper than existential. The quantum field, the pre-universal fabric of waves and particles, whatever that may be, on a here and now level that animates all of what we are. That to me was a very rare opportunity to, and I want to, I felt into what felt to me to be deathlessness. And it's not as if it's somewhere other than everywhere. I mean, the simultaneity of multidimensionality and narratives, the layers of wisdom, the layers of awareness, the layers of insight, the layers of life and death, from the density of the most congealed forms of evil delusion to the highest radiances of enlightened poetry and aesthetics, and perhaps the intelligence that connect those two dualities. I want to know the secret things, as the great Rilke, the poet, once said. I want to know the secret things in life, or be alone. And I was with my ally in this procedure, feeling into the ephemeral body of being deeper than the diagnoses of illness. I guess what I'm trying to get to here is that I don't see myself, don't relate. I don't know about you. In the higher artistry of being, it isn't just the aesthetics of the senses, but I'm beginning to feel more and more inclined to play in that nuministic, energetic field that can't be harmed by the ailments of form. And I want to do what I can in my own challenged way to interrupt the familiarity of words to define the nature of how I perceive self and other and world. Ailment, healing, cure, disease, aneurysms, death, hardship, war. Yes, intervene there. They're all relative truths, but I think each of us know each of us sufficiently enough as yogis, as meditators. I would call us Dhamma savants. Or I should say, I feel very inclined to play in that deeper cognitive, numismatic, unsoiled field of artistry that I am not being made wrong by God. Therefore, I've got a disease, I'm going to die. I'm hurt, I'm poor, I'm aging. That realm of what we call in Buddhist psychological terms lokya, the intersection of dyads of ordinary, good, bad, right, wrong, here, there, rich, poor, tall, thin, ugly, beautiful, all relatively cultural mirrors refracting back our own conditioning and the greater narratives that are promoted through the social media streams and traditional schools and the ways in which we've been shaped and sculpted and shamed to be who we see ourselves we don't want to be anymore. And so the spiritual life, the journey of the yogi, the life of the artist, the Dharma artist, the spirituals artist, it's not just to create beautiful art. Yes, that's an artistry. But it's how to mix all the traditional transformational values, principles, and trainings of the East and the West, and to take them into the deepest areas, the most fulfilling areas of being, and sculpt an existence that isn't defined by certainty, by fear, by profit, by privilege, by apartheid, by domination, by blame, by judgment, by placing my wealth in areas of existence, as it's been said, that dust and rust doth corrupt. Sitting on the side of a semi-dormant volcano 7 miles deep into the ocean of our Mother Earth, the fireball that we are deep inside the core of this blue-green sphere spinning. And here we sit in this some kind of weird certainty of how it all works. And I don't know about you, the opposite of certainty is the creative play of artistry that isn't necessarily so defined by the outcome as much as it is, I want to say, by the cliche of the process. And yes, I like goals too. I don't just cook to cook. I like to eat as well. I don't just love to love. I like to touch and feel as well. But I looked into that heart of mine yesterday. And I look into it again in the morning and right now. I've never touched my chest as much as I have. I don't want to participate in any narrative that I can see through as transparent that limits my voice, my heart, my life, my choices, my beauty. I don't want to be culturally embedded in the narratives, set aside anything governmental or mainstream, and I'm going to let those boys and girls play in those domains right now. And I want to drop into more and more artistry, which means occupying our senses with greater poise and openness and creative choice-making possibility on the palette theater stage of eternity at the ear. How well do you actively listen and move in the energy of sound as it reverberates through shared space, and you hear it psychedelic-like on your own inner ear, and you can feel the congealing of meaning based on conditions related to those waves of sound and auditory vibration. And all of a sudden there's a definition of meaning, and you bring the artistry of naked engagement to that meaning so that there's no platitude in the way in which we hear it, or conditioned habit response to make the sound and the meaning wrong. Blame, natural, of course, but in the poetry and the sensitivity of the artistry of the senses, deep dedication to responsibility, because I think art is about choice. And out of habit, why do something repetitively? Because it's familiar. Why not take art and take risks to be innovative? Breaking the molds of our craft, our commerciality, our curriculums, breaking the trance of the ways in which we hold images of ourselves that we believe or interpret information told to us. The world wants to contort and bend, shape, distort, mold, sculpt, box in configurations of identity. No wonder there is the rise in the psychedelic, the DMT, the MEO, the MDMA, both literal, molecular, and metaphorical, because they promise in some way, if held in the right setting, graciously in the right place inside and out, to break cultural prison camps, break slavery. Right now, the world is wanting to just, not the world, but certain people in the world, primarily men in the world, dictatorial men, totalitarian men, want, out of their own perverse inability to embrace their own divine feminine artistry, they want to control and shape and manipulate their country women and men, global domination. We hear it over and over again. Totalitarianism is the absence of art. So when I talk about Dharma artistry, it isn't the absence of activism. It's really like saying, I am not going to belong to the super cult of predatory politics. I'm not going to be shaped by the lack of radical self in life inquiry, and therefore be shackled by the cognitive, likes and swipes and manipulations through the digital media. I refuse to participate in the torture of freedom. That's totalitarianism's evil soul, the torture of freedom. And so art, in a way, is the greatest safeguard that I can see to maintain, I want to use the word autonomy, but deep, intimate, interrelated autonomy where I don't lose myself so much in my quest to reveal my own power that I don't submerge myself in the projection of hope in other. But artistry and the occupation of choice-making presence at the senses is about maintaining high degrees of freedom, of choice, freedom of conscience. What does it mean to artfully present and express your dignity? And so innovatively breaking out of dogmas and restrictions of traditional orthodoxy, the memorization of right versus wrong. Yes, on an ethical level, let's smarten up. But on a creative playing field of open-hearted, cinematic, breathtaking, movie-making generation from our own souls, why not at times lose it? Poetically dance in your own naked naturalness, right? Untapped creativity is basically saying no on the one hand, as I can see it. I refuse to continue to participate in the life that I need not live anymore. Enough. I'm going down the wrong lane fast, and it's killing me because I'm so unbelievably efficient at success that I'm dull and dumb and numb and weird out on porn just to lie my life into the future. Of course, I don't know where that came from. I don't participate in porn. I cannot stand, especially political porn, the propaganda of bullshit political porn, the lies and the manipulation of Wall Street and the oligarchs of Silicon Valley, the totalitarian, psychopathic, nuclear-armed, bioweaponed premier of China, Xi Jinping, and his offbeat kid in Burma, Ming Online. It's wrong. I want to point that out in an artistic way, dude. It's not about blaming you any more than you are blaming yourself through your own unrecognized ignorance and metastasizing your stupidity through your own violence and the guns of Russia, and you're killing your own people in the name of your stupidity. There's art in that. We need to mock that and shame that, as Arundhati Roy has said. A million different ways we can invent civil disobedience, right? Civil disobedience, spiritual disobedience, cognitive, existential disobedience, absolutely existential, rebellious disobedience. Art, in a way, is the greatest expression of activism because it's freedom in action, uncontrived naturalness that plays in the hard-felt arena of challenge to control, inner and outer. Then the play of the aesthetics. I'm so down with this word, perhaps annoying to those who hear it too frequently from me, but so be it. There's something about aesthetics coupled with artistry, coupled with Dhamma, coupled with activism, coupled with creativity, coupled with innovative expressions of aesthetically engaged, creative, sensory presence. Maybe all I'm saying is that I'm bored. That I wish I had the archetypal lover running through my being, the divine feminine animating my choice-making beyond death and disease and hardship and fear. If there's anything I want to keep alive in this world, hey, listen, I grew up, I say it proudly, I grew up in a 30-foot trailer. That's a lot of little spaces that you find where you have to play with your toys and you do your art and your coloring and your gifts and your love and your masturbation and your hopes and your fantasies. It's a small space. I learned about the power of the great outdoors because of that confinement. I climbed trees, I looked at the sun, I studied rainbows, I walked behind turtles, and to see if I could move so slowly without scaring them. They would often eat out of my hand. I learned to live close to even the frogs and the dragonflies. I loved sports and the artistry of swinging a baseball bat and golf and tennis and even football. I hated to love it, to play it again, to reject it. But I love most of all women and love and play and art and public speaking. I got thrown out of school in the 12th grade for talking about the virtues of the lysergic acid molecule. No one knew what it was until they found out. Cost me a big one. So be it. I say all this. No matter where we find ourselves, under a bed, in a closet, metaphorical or literal, in the darkness or in the light, driving down the street loudly in your Lamborghini of pretense, confined in your four walls in Bel Air, in a mansion here in Kula or in Kihei or in McKenna, or on the city streets, forlorn, in New York or Philadelphia, Milwaukee, who knows where, everywhere, in our own hearts. Art is possible. I do believe more than the Holy Spirit as redemption, as much as I do believe in my beloved holy redemption. The artistry of the holy, the artistry of loving, the artistry of the poem, the spoken word, the innovative expression of life as performance art. What is that about? Performance is so contrived, Alan. Natural performance. It means that you're invigorated to get out of bed, which I'm trying to do in the morning slowly. I was asked the other day, do you really kind of feel good that you woke up in the morning? Hemmed and hawed a little bit. Maybe after I do my little bit of this and little bit of that, and to avoid this and avoid that. And all of us live with hope, right? What is my hope? Deep down inside, art means empowering desire as beautiful. Don't play so dogmatically in the field of the second noble truth that all suffering is based upon desire and grasping and attachment. My teacher, Sayadaw U Pandita in Burma, my late great ally, Dhamma friend, savant, brother, father, grandfather, saint, great guy. We loved each other. I loved him. He would often express to people about overcoming attachment by asking them to hold their fist up in the air like this and just like look at it and said, squeeze it tight. And you go, oh my God, squeeze it tighter. You know, it's a joke. It's a Dhamma play. It's art. Squeeze it even tighter. And he would say, hold it with all your might. It's the most important thing in the world in your hand right now. You finally got it, and squeeze it proudly. Now just put your mindfulness into your fist and tell me what it feels like. And don't say hand squeezing or fist. And they go like, it feels tight, claustrophobic. Then he would say, ever so slowly, release the tension in gripping, in grasping, but don't open your hand. Uncontrived naturalness, uncontrived openness. And if you do it, you can do it at some point, you just, the artistry of openness is far from forcing the hand to abide with the projection of what openness looks like. And you see, and he told people, I heard this for decades, life is the journey of non-forced openness. It's going to be a long journey of learning the fidelity and the artistry of releasing, not letting go, releasing into life. Okay? Art as releasing into life. So art to me and untapped creativity is the aspiration, and I'll come to close here, is the aspiration of the soul, the finest places of resident intelligence, the soul, the interiority at its most pure, dynamic level of who I am as this place in my being, the soul, pure authenticity made real, already uncontrived, already present, but yet felt. That place is the respect for art. We're releasing into wonderment. Art as the expression of awe, of life-giving radiance. The rainbow of original enlightenment that's never been done before. And so yesterday in the procedure at the quantum level, I was imagining in the last 20 minutes or so of my dream, art as dream, imaginary futures. When you think of the word fatality and death, illness, it's a narrative. You hear it through your own refracted understanding, but it's a narrative that tends to make consciousness and being smaller, more contracted. But the artistry of being, making life our art, is I think the soul of it is the pure awe of the mystery of wonderment. But within that, the Dhamma of wonderment. I do like knowing that you can learn and train yourself in artistry. I've worked over the years. I wake up, the devil's in the details. I wake up to do what I do because I love doing it. And I call my live streams my own special self-therapy. I'm so grateful that you're in my life, that you participate. But I take tremendous pride in furthering the edges in the playing field of my paramis, my Dhamma, using consciousness, using voice, the aesthetics of the senses. I don't like economies. I don't like working. I don't like driving. I don't like the forms. I don't like the taxes. I don't like the urbanization. I love the nature. I watched the birds this morning and realized I coexist, stating something so obviously. We coexist with non-humans, with trees and butterflies and flowers and fruits, yet we walk around in the presumption of being the predominant species, and it's a predatory energy. And I'm participating right there in totalitarianism in my own not so humble way. And so art, though, is a living exhibition of purity and freedom and love and compassion and kindness in any way that you want to do love making between your chosen lover who agrees to play in your own body and mind and feel and fluids and whatever you want to do cognitively and emotionally That takes two, and you seek agreement to play every step of the way, every touch and every kiss through trust and hope and creative love. I want to do that. And so I want to close here. The essence yesterday of this procedure at a very quantum level, the visualization, I tried to see on the horizon of my hope what was there. And I saw images of life. I saw myself from an infinite past, a configuration of rebirthing to the 10 millionth power, a configuration of causality known as me, throughout a beginningless past, and now in present incarnation here, in the island of Maui, on planet Earth, in our solar system, in our galaxy, in our quantum fields, in our meta-universe. Sitting, talking, relating, playing, loving, creating art and love with you, with the angels, with the deities, with the plants, with the birds, with the volcanoes, with life and waves and dolphins and disease and hope and fear and trust. Wonderment is what I'm pointing to. I felt life as mystery and awe and wonderment. And it gave me a sense of, yes, I want to participate, lover. I want to know you, goddess, not only in form and flesh, but I want to know you, existence. I do not want to fear any element of your presence. I want to participate as purely in the artistry of an engaging your being, body, soul, mind, God. Savage as you are, killer dude, I'm going to love you to death. And you can do what you want with my body, but you cannot fuck with my mind. That's what I got yesterday. And this diagnosis of this acutely enlarged aorta aneurysm, I am so unpragmatic in my art, my dharma. And guess what? I'm going to lose it even more. I don't want to know the Alan of today. Yes, 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 yes. No, 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 no. I want to be reborn throughout this day. A succession of rainbows that cries and weeps and hopes and dreams. I want to keep doing my art. That's it. So I invite you to invite me to ask your soul today, what's untapped in my heart? Am I walking in lockstep to conditions and expectations that are so moldy and rotten and tired and bored of our unremitting, false, pretentious engagement to these worn out structures? Ask your soul, what does she want? What do I feel? Beyond fear, beyond healing, beyond, beyond, beyond. Making life your art. We have hands for the moment. Imagine if they were taken from us. Never again to touch in the way that a hand and fingers and palms can do. And for some reason, they re-arise. And there they are again. Imagine the incredible joy. I have hands that can touch. I have a heart that can weep. I can cry again. Bring on death. My art exceeds you. My eyes, my ears, have we ever stopped sufficiently to honor our senses? If you're inspired by what I share and what I think, I want to close here. We have a 3-day gifted freely global virtual gathering in this very room, broadcast live on Facebook, live stream, Friday, July 2nd, Saturday, July 3rd, and Sunday, July 4th. 2 sessions daily. I would like to express very clearly that the gathering now in person is full. I would like to encourage you, what a time for these 3 days to join digital cognitive hands around the world, our own Sangha, our emerging world Dharma independent Sangha, a time to invite friends, 10 to 12 and 1 to 3, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Tune in. May I invite you, if you have questions, topics you'd like me to address, DM me, messenger me, and I will do my very best to integrate those questions and your issues. And if you wish for me not to mention your name, just simply say, I prefer to be anonymous, and I'll deal specifically. But I'd prefer to use your name so that you're honored and that it's worldwide and digital and we meet each other. DM me, messenger me with your questions, your issues, and we're going to get not down, but round and expanded here on a global virtual gathering from this incredibly exquisite energetic nature reserve, held in high heartfulness on a volcano in the middle of the Pacific, in the middle of a global crisis, a pandemic, with the potentials of nuclear war and bioterrorism, information war, the disruption of food supplies and electrification. We're at the precipice at this point. Life cannot sustain the way in which humans are going about living. It's not possible. Urbanification is over. We must decathex from the fetish, the blind addiction of consumerism. This gathering will deal intimately with those issues, not just Dhammic, cognitive, psychological, and existential artistry, but the artistry of radical activism on a political, on an environmental, and on a spiritual level. What does it mean to truly embody creative challenge to the orthodoxies of destructive behaviors that we ourselves often unknowingly participate in? We must learn to be radically self-reflective in our art, in our Dharma. By way of saying, a great moment to invite people to come in. So may I hope to see you during this upcoming weekend. And I reiterate, the retreat is extremely limited in size. We're honoring everything that is required by law. Social distancing, bring your masks here on the island of Maui, and just a handful of people. But the real emphasis is going to be digital, virtual, a global outreach to every inhabitant that you're willing to invite and to bring into this global digital arena. That is the gathering, and that's going to be the emphasis for my efforts. I want to hear from you. I want to understand you. I want to do all that I can to meet you across the divide and learn and grow together and do something that perhaps has never been done before, keeping a higher order freedom alive in our blessed world. So thank you from my heart for being a part of this sharing. God willing, I will be here tomorrow morning at 9:30. And again, the gathering is over. There's no more spaces. Be inspired, if I can encourage you, to participate virtually and digitally. Commit to the process. Take some time off. Hang in there. We're going to meditate. We're going to do some writing exercises. And we're going to do a lot of spontaneous, I've been looking forward to spontaneous Dhamma exploration. I'm not going to hold back anything at all during this weekend. So have a great day and hope to see you tomorrow and certainly over the weekend for our special 3-day gathering from Maui worldwide. Thank you.